What's up, football fans? We are live in the Prime Reaction Sports Studio. I am the main man, Prime, coming to you live. I know it's been a while. I've missed you guys. I got to give a big shout out, of course, to Raider Reaction. RaiderReaction.com. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, don't forget to be a supporter so you can get all of the Raider Reaction content. Anyway, it is so good to be back, y'all. I want to say thank you for your patience. I know it's been a while. I've had a whole lot going on these days, between the pandemic and the other stuff, man. I've just been trying to keep my mind straight, man. But lo and behold, we got football coming up soon. We are just a couple of weeks out. Can you believe it? In 3 weeks, something like 3 weeks, we will have a live NFL. Oh, Tommy Beard, he's already calling me out. You did call Cam to New England. Man, I thought he was going to be a Los Angeles Ram. I'm not going to kid you. I thought Cam Newton was basically going to sit on the couch till about week 4, and once the Rams got tired of Jared Goff, that's when they were going to bring in Cam Newton. I was wrong. I did not see the Patriots picking up Cam Newton, but at the same time, they signed Cam Newton at the very same time. What? Some allegation came out. Oh, God, they were just cheating again. I think it's had something to do with their video scandal. So, Patriots doing what Patriots do. They tried to basically outshine that bad news, with the signing of Cam Newton. But at the same time, does Cam Newton mean New England doesn't skip a beat? As in, do they rule that division again? Are they once again an AFC power? Still an AFC power? I don't know. But we're not going to talk about so much as that. Oh, man. All right, Jason Hunter, I see you. You see the Patriots drafted, or they got Cam Newton so they could tank? All right, man. I have to admit, I don't know of any NFL GM that would pick up a perennial Pro Bowler, a MVP winning, and he has made it to a Super Bowl. He didn't win the Super Bowl, but he has made it to the Super Bowl. So a Super Bowl MVP winning quarterback. I don't think anyone picks up Cam Newton to tank. Well, Jason, you say he sucks, but I don't know. The man won an MVP for a reason. That was 2015. Granted, it's been a while. He's battled a bunch of injuries since, but he actually revolutionized the quarterback position. The guy's built like a defensive end. Man. But indeed, you are right, Jason Dean. The Patriots do have a lot of guys opting out, like Patrick Chung, who is basically the quarterback on their defense, has opted out for the season. But I am not here to talk about teams. The only team I'm here to talk about here tonight is your fantasy team. That's right. I know. Here, with the season coming, we got a lot of fantasy footballers out there. And I know you want to get every edge you can get to win that fantasy football league. And that's what Prime is here for you today doing. That's right. I'm going to give you some of my own secrets that have helped me win championships, that have helped me be a perennial playoff team, and other leagues. I've had a lot of fantasy football, not just fantasy football, actually some fantasy basketball too. Success. Whoa. Yeah. Well, let me address this. All right, Jason, you said so. No one was banging down his door to play quarterback. Well, Cam Newton, man, it's a real sticky situation because Cam Newton is obviously a starter. And the fact is that most of the teams in the NFL, whether it be with a rookie or with a veteran, were pretty much set at quarterback. Okay? You can't bring Cam Newton in to be a backup. And that's just it. Cam Newton as a backup is not going to happen in the NFL. Not at this juncture, no. So you had to have were the Patriots really going to be okay with Jarrett Stidham? From everything I heard, I thought they were. But, they weren't banging down his door because there was no starting quarterback position available. And once one was determined that there was, suddenly the guy gets signed and in time for training camp. So, like, yeah, I mean, oh, Jason Dean doesn't do fantasy football. He's out. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Well, I appreciate you, like, speaking up there, man. I do appreciate you chiming in there. You know, everyone's got opinions on football. Oh, wow. Oh, gosh, you're going to keep me here. All right, I'll stay here for a while. We'll talk about this. When I start Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville over Cam Newton. No, I wouldn't. But if you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, all right, they didn't have a whole lot of cap room to go and sign Cam Newton. Now, granted, he took a cheap deal, I guess, in New England, but nah, it's cool. Hey, I understand not everybody does fantasy football. All right, I do fantasy football, and it almost I won't say it ruined it for me, but it did make me look at football in a totally different view, a totally different perspective. Because anymore, you know, I don't necessarily have a team in the race. I don't have a dog in the race. I don't go for any one team. I go for the Shield. My favorite player is Roger Goodell. Big ups to Roger Goodell for making sure this league can actually go forward in this whole thing, in this whole COVID thing, you know? Like, whatever. But we're going to have football, and it's going to start on time. So, hurrah for that. But would I start Gardner Minshew? No. I you know, honestly, if I had Cam Newton and Gardner Minshew on my bench, then Cam Newton's going to get the start, you know? But I don't think they can afford to sign him. And oh yeah, that's very true, Jason. I don't know if anyone's seen any of my older shows, but this is not my regular due. You know, I usually keep it high and tight. This is called I haven't been to the barber shop in I don't know how long because it's not absolutely necessary. You know, I have to go to the grocery store or at least have. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that stuff. But yeah, this is my quarantine look. This is my quarantine beard. You know, this is not a good luck beard or anything like that. It's called yeah. I've been in the house for months. But that's all good. But, no. I mean, Cam Newton, I understand people that don't like him, but the fact of the matter is he's still pretty good. Like, man, he's won many a fantasy league, in fact, on the back of Cam Newton. In fact, he was one of my fantasy quarterbacks, I think, in one of my more successful seasons. So, yeah, I think he can be right up there again, even. That's the scary part. Like, Cam Newton with a chip on his shoulder is a scary proposition for defenses. Because, honestly, he is as big as a defensive end. He does have an arm like a cannon. The dude throws ropes, man. Like, if he can find the timing and the precision in that, Washington didn't even call him. Well, Alex Smith is coming back. Did you hear that? Washington didn't call him. Yeah. Well, Alex Smith didn't call. Alex Smith is coming back, you know. And let's see. And, of course, they have the quarterback, out of Ohio State, I believe. Anyway, yeah, the Washington football team, that's a story for a whole nother day. Man, I don't even want to talk about Washington right now, man. Best of luck to them. I hope they do well. I find it humorous. Man, yeah, Alex Smith, University of California, I believe. Man, yeah, he was a pretty good quarterback. He's coming back. He had a terrible injury. Oh, my gosh. Like, I mean, it was like a Joe Theismann type injury. Like, it was nasty. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, Dwayne Haskins is a bust? He's barely played. How could he be a bust? I wouldn't call him a bust. I mean, even, what? Peyton Manning went 1-15 or something like that his first year. 2 Super Bowls later and a couple MVPs. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. He's got a great show. What up, Mark Anthony Flores Sr.? Thank you for tuning in to the Prime Cut. We're coming back live on Wednesday nights, and I tell you what, even the commish and I should be having a show here soon. So, anyway, he almost died. Oh, wow. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think he could be a bust. Don't get me wrong. There are Jamarcus Russells in the world. That happens. You know, Ryan Leaf, Tim Couch, all busts. You know, that happens in the NFL. Akili Smith, ooh, you know. But Yeah, so Dwayne Haskins, he's got a shot. He's got a chance. I tell you what, it is warm here in Prime Reaction Sports Studios tonight. So if you see me sweating buckets, man, anyway. And, oh, wow. We got the Quarantine Hulk bringing me that purple. That's right. Oh, wow. You don't see that every day. I mean, but it's the Hulk. It's not like he's Wolverine. Wolverine has a healing factor. That means he doesn't get the corona. But the Hulk, he doesn't have a healing factor like that. He's just real tough. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. But hey, that's right. Call Jamarcus up. We hitting the boat. That's right. We got that purple. But you are correct, Abraham Torres. That's right. It is going to be an exciting season. Now, granted, there have been some players that have opted out, but we're going to have live football, and it's going to start on time. And, I mean, there's so many storylines in the NFL that I have to admit, man, I'll have to do more than one show just to cover them all. I think this year is going to be absolutely exciting. It's going to be pretty fantastic. There won't be I think there'll be hardly any fans there. No fans, I think, have been announced by a couple of teams. I think I heard 20 to 25% capacity for other teams. I'm not really sure, but big ups to the NFL for making this happen. It's not college football. Those guys don't get paid. They don't need to go out there. But man, those NFLers earn those millions. Speaking of millions, man, did you hear about not Zach Ertz, but George Kittle. George Kittle out of University of Iowa. Yeah, George Kittle signed he's the most expensive tight end in history as of now. He's the most highest paid tight end in history of the NFL. That's more money than Travis Kelce. That's more money than Zach Ertz. I don't know. But does George Kittle crack my top 5 tight ends? We'll have to wait and see till we get to the tight ends. So, anyway, I always find it pretty easy to select, the top 5 position players, if you will, in fantasy football. So, Ricardo, you are correct, sir. And I still love Henry Ruggs III. Henry Ruggs III is my man, and I'm going to draft him late on my fantasy team. Not too late, maybe mid-round or something like that. Because, in fact, if you play in a keeper league, Henry Ruggs should be your man anyway, as a rookie. And a Raider. The funny thing about the Raiders, though, if you think about it, right? In terms of fantasy football, you got Josh Jacobs, and you got Waller, and you got Ruggs. And those are pretty much your most skilled at the skilled positions. The big question mark is going to be Carr. Is Carr going to have the best season of his life because he's got Marcus Mariota waiting in the wings, ready to take that spot if he doesn't necessarily perform? Or does he really just underperform by week 4 and then Marcus Mariota comes in? And you know what? I've seen Marcus Mariota play. I've seen him win a playoff game. That's a little more than I've seen Carr do. But anyway, I digress. We'll have to see. But those skill positions, I'm talking Josh Jacobs, Waller at tight end, and Ruggs III at wide receiver, are all valid fantasy picks. That's right. Well, we're just getting started here on the Prime Cut. If you're just tuning in, don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well as Twitter, Facebook, and RaiderReaction.com. Be a supporter and help us do this stuff. Help us put together all the shows and raffles and whatnot we have going on here at Raider Reaction and Reaction Sports. That herbal tasting good tonight, let me tell you. So, when I look at quarterbacks, it is pretty easy to see that Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, those are all viable. Those are some of your top picks when it comes to fantasy football, But what I want to look at are some of the surprises, some of the guys you don't necessarily see. That's right. He better step up. Carr better have the best year of his career. So, what's up, Chris? Good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Montiel, for tuning in to the Prime Cut. Where have I been? I've been in my house, dealing with a lot of stuff in our country right now, whether it be the pandemic or anything else that may be occurring. So, anyway, It's been pretty interesting, but I don't want to necessarily make this a political show, so I had to wait. I had to sit back in the wings for a while because I had sort of a fire in me that I couldn't necessarily show everybody in the country right now that's tuning in. I can't. Yeah, this show's about football, and that's right. And that's what I want to talk about. So, there are, talking heads out there, the pigskin pundits, if you will, that are saying Dak Prescott is a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. And, he's got that old Raider. He's got that old Raider at wide receiver. And they got C.D. Lamb in the draft, who was supposedly one of the best wide receivers in the draft that fell to them. So, is Dak Prescott really a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year? Well, according to his stats last year, in fact, he is. Yeah. For the last, 10 games of the season last year, Dak Prescott was in the top 5. He was actually number 4 in a lot of statistics, and as well as scoring and points per game. So, yeah, Dak Prescott is actually a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year, which pains me to say, because if you know, of course, I am a fan of the league. I don't have a team, but there are some teams I just don't like. And one of those teams is the Dallas Cowboys. Another one of those teams, the New England Patriots. But it is what it is. Ooh. Anyway, so Dak Prescott, yeah, he's going to be top 5. Now, to basically close it out, I would say that your top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy this year are going to be Lamar Jackson, of course, Patrick Mahomes, and I would say Deshaun Watson, as well as Russell Wilson. Yeah. So, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, oh yeah, and Dak Prescott. Those are going to be your top 5, but who are the other quarterbacks this year that are going to make a splash, if you will? Who are the other quarterbacks that are going to blow up for you? I mean, could it be Daniel Jones with the New York Giants? I mean, the New York Giants, they've got a lot of great players at the skill position. Let's see, that's Sterling Shepard. They got Saquon Barkley, who's, a top running back. They got Evan Ingram, I think, at the quarterback or at the tight end position. So, could it be Daniel Jones? I think it could. Could it be Josh Allen? Josh Allen out of Buffalo. He just got the wide receiver, not Adam Thielen, but I'm having a little brain hiccup here. That would be, whoa, he a choker? Who are you talking about, Mark Anthony Flores? Who's a choker? Stephon Diggs, that's who I'm talking about. Stephon Diggs went from Minnesota, the Minnesota Vikings there, to the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Allen has a cannon. He actually, who'd he challenge? He challenged Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen challenged Patrick Mahomes to see who could throw the furthest, like a distance, like I can throw it 80 yards, I can throw it 85. Now, Josh Allen has an arm, but I don't know if he's got a Patrick Mahomes arm. Anyway, that dude, he can throw a ball. Can you believe the deal that Patrick Mahomes signed? He's going to be a chief for the next 10 years. And I know I'm talking sacrilege here on Raider Reaction, but good God, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for the Raiders for the next 10 years. And everyone else in the league, for that matter, as they did win the Super Bowl last year. So, yeah. I don't know, Patrick Mahomes, he's insane. But, as I was saying, Stephon Diggs is now with the Buffalo Bills. That means Josh Allen, Dak is a choker. Well, that's just it. In fantasy football, it doesn't matter if you win the game. You just have to throw for stats. It's just stats. There's no, wins and losses aren't counted, That's the best thing about fantasy football. The only win that matters is your team, whether it be, whatever your fantasy team name is. My fantasy team name is the Beaver Street Roar. Why? Because I live in a neighborhood called Beaverdale. And in fact, that's how that works, the Beaver Street Roar. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. Excuse me. Looks like that Urkel is doing his job. Let me tell you. How? Anyway, so I don't know. Those are just a couple of quarterbacks I was thinking could that will most likely make the leap. Make the leap. You know. Thank you, Timothy Southwick. Indeed, I do try to drop facts here. Nothing but facts. But who else? Now, I tell you what. If Carson Wentz can stay healthy for a season, and that's a huge if. Why? He's never done it. Even the year they won the Super Bowl, he wasn't even, I mean, that was Nick Folk. Like, who is going to be pushing Mitch Trubisky in Chicago? I tell you what, Mitch Trubisky's not going to be the starter. Don't draft that dude. He's hot garbage. Man, just look at his Madden rating. All right, Mitch Trubisky, I think, had a quarterback Madden rating of like 66 or something like that. Like that, he is bad. He is no good. Chicago, man, they got that defense. They need a quarterback that can do something. Otherwise, they're going to be at the bottom of the NFC North once again. But, there are high hopes for Kyler Murray out of Arizona. Of course, Arizona makes that blockbuster trade for one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? DeAndre Hopkins is now a Cardinal. And all of a sudden, this is going to push Kyler Murray, I guess, into the upper echelon of quarterbacks when it comes to fantasy football. Now, I like DeAndre Hopkins. In fact, Deshaun Watson can attribute some of his success to that stud wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, that he is. D-Hop. He's got a lot of babies, though. Well, anyway, that's another story. Anyway, I want to talk about him. DeAndre Hopkins is supposed to elevate Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray is going to be, I guess, a decent quarterback this year. I'm not 100% he'll be, say, top 10, but a lot of people think they are. You can't forget about some of the old heads in the NFL, though, when it comes to the quarterback position in your fantasy football team. Some of the old heads would include, say, Drew Brees. Drew Brees is, 41? But you know he's going to air it out. That guy, he's going to dip, and all of his receivers are going to eat up that yak, that yard after catch. That's what's going to happen for Drew Brees. He's not going to necessarily throw that 60-yard bomb, that Josh Allen might be doing that. Josh Allen's going to be doing that to Stephon Diggs. Watch those 60-yard bombs. Think I'm playing. Get those bonus points in your fantasy league if you get them for those super long touchdowns. Anyway. But Drew Brees, man, he's going to throw it 12 to 15 yards, and then all of a sudden those guys are going to bolt. Like, oh, man, running down the field, get that yak, 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 yak. Yards after catch, highly important in fantasy football. Now, I'm going to get out of quarterbacks. I've talked about a couple of them. They're pretty good. Let's talk about running backs, Running backs have always been sort of the cowbell, the bell cow. What are those things? They're for your fantasy football teams, Everyone's, always drafted running backs first or in the first or second round and such. But, what do you do after Christian McCaffrey's gone or Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, or Dalvin Cook? All those guys are top guys. But who's going to be that running back that you can get late? And I have to look at, actually, Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders out of Philadelphia with, once again, that Carson Wentz, that guy I've talked about before. Miles Sanders is a great running back. And, in fact, he's coming off a few injuries, and right now they're just projecting that he will be available for week 1, which is what we find the most important. That is the most important thing. Leonard Fournette still in Jacksonville. They wanted to get rid of him, actually. But here is my dark horse. Are you ready? Mr. David Johnson. Remember that guy? He had a couple of great years in Arizona. Then he got a wrist injury or something like that. It wasn't even like knees or ankles or anything like that. He got a wrist injury, And now, I think he's healthy and he's in Houston. So, him and Deshaun Watson are going to be in the backfield. Mr. David Johnson's going to reap the benefits. I mean, there was that one year where he was definitely he was the top running back in fantasy football. David Johnson was running and catching the ball at a great rate. He was very, 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 very good. So, I think he's going to be great. Now, does anyone remember Todd Gurley? Todd Gurley had a couple of good seasons there, but his knees, man, he was on that pitch count last year. Todd Gurley was on that pitch count last year. And this year, he's actually going to be an Atlanta Falcon. So him and Matty Ice and Julio Jones are going to be putting it down there in hot Atlanta. That's how that's going to work. And I think that he's going to have a fantastic year. David Johnson, pardon me. Todd Gurley is going to have a great year. Like, think about it. He barely played last year. So all those ankles and knees and whatnot, man, they're not going to be a concern because, man, LA, the Rams, they did a pretty good job of bringing the guy back slowly. They didn't rush things. They didn't bring him out too quickly. They didn't make him come back too fast or anything like that. But now, that is, of course, Todd Gurley. But you know who's really going to have a new opportunity, and that's Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon was a Charger, Los Angeles Charger. LA's got all them teams. They used to have the Raiders, man. But yeah, anyway, Melvin Gordon is now a Denver Bronco, and somehow the Denver Broncos, I don't like Denver either. I'm gonna tell you, they're on my short list of teams that I just don't like, and the Denver Broncos are one of them. So if you're a Bronco fan, you probably didn't find this show anyway because you're watching the Prime Cut on Raider Reaction. Don't forget to check us out on RaiderReaction.com, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Anyway, been going strong for a second there. All right. Anyway, but Melvin Gordon as a Bronco is kind of crazy because they have that zone blocking scheme that they've done in Denver since John Elway was there, and they won those couple of Super Bowls. Anyway, I do not like the Broncos. They leave a bad taste in my mouth. But Melvin Gordon could ball out of control there. I mean, he was a good back. He was a good back, but Austin Eckler proved to be a little bit something else, I think he's going to have a good year as well. Austin Eckler's going to have a great year in Charger land. Nah, they won't win games. It's not about winning games, people. Like, it does not matter if these fantasy players are on the winning side. In fact, it's almost better that they're on the losing side. Why? Because then they take more risks and throw the ball like downfield. And we all know the NFL is basically a passing league anymore. So that's going to be big fantasy points for you when teams lose. So I hope Denver goes 0-16. I hope New England goes 0-16. I don't care if Cam Newton's on their team. And I hope the Dallas Cowboys go 0-16. I don't even want to talk about it. The hell with all of them. So, when it comes to the running backs, I think, of course, Austin Eckler's going to have a good year. I think Melvin Gordon could also have a good year, as well as Todd Gurley, But if you really want my deep underground pick at running back, whether you're in a PPR league or a legacy league or any league, Devin Singletary of the Buffalo Bills is going to have a good year. Mark my words now. Do it. All right? Devin Singletary was a stud when it came to a running back by committee situation last year. But this year, they're going to put the ball more in his hands there in Buffalo. And in fact, I think Devin Singletary is going to be a stud. Like, he was a stud last year. He had the ball I don't know. He is definitely the lead horse in that backfield. And he is going to make a name in fantasy football this year with Devin Singletary. That's hot. Hot cheddar right there. Man alive. But we are rolling along. We've gone through quarterbacks and running backs. That's going to take us to the wide receivers. That's right, the divas of your fantasy football team, of any football team for that matter. And yeah, as I stated before, it's pretty easy to know who is your top 5 when it comes to the wide receiver position, such as Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, or even Tyreek Hill, you know? But who is going to be that player? Who are those players you should aim for deeper in the draft to fill that wide receiver position? You know, you can't forget about the old heads. Keenan Allen still there, T.Y. Hilton, you know, even Tyler Lockett, you know. But who are some of the new guys I think that are going to make an impact this year in the NFL? Well, the wide receivers I'm looking at, I'm going to say DK Metcalf in Seattle. That guy, no one thought he was going to be able to play because he's built like Superman. The guy's got shoulders and chest. He's built like, oh man, who was David Boston, I think his name was. He was a wide receiver in Arizona back in, I'm going to say 95-ish or something like that. David Boston was built like a tight end, but he was a wide receiver because of the guy. The guy had muscles on muscles on muscles, and that was DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf has muscles on muscles on muscles. DK Metcalf even went to his NFL interview, you know, during the combine with no shirt on. The guy wore no shirt to his interview. Like, incidentally, in life, I've done quite a few interviews in some way, shape, or form. Either I was the one giving them, or I was the one, like, being interviewed, okay? And not once have I thought about going to any of those interviews with no shirt on. DK Metcalf was like, look, I got pecs and abs, bro. We got nothing but pop, 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 pop. And that dude went to his interview with no shirt on, DK Metcalf. And suddenly, we need to drop them bombs. Yeah, you certainly do need to drop them bombs, Abraham Torres. But anyway, DK Metcalf is going to ball out. He's going to end up being the number one receiver for Seattle. I mean, they have their deep threat. Their deep threat. Oh, what's his name again? Come on. I need a producer. Just kidding. But, Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is that deep threat for Seattle. And you know what? Tyler Lockett, he'll have a good year. But their number one wide receiver, man, the one that they're going to go to, say, on third down or, I don't know, most often, is going to be DK Metcalf. Right? He's going to be that possession receiver. He's also going to be a big target in the red zone. That's huge. DK Metcalf, as huge as he is going to be a stud in the red zone. That means touchdowns. That means fantasy gold. If you don't know, now you do. What about Juju Smith-Schuster, though? Man, Pittsburgh. With Ben Roethlisberger hurt last year, they rolled out 4 or 5 quarterbacks, man. I almost signed up. Pittsburgh called me. They were like, Prime, can you play quarterback? I was like, I played some scout team quarterback in high school. But, I can't go out to Pittsburgh. I can't do Pittsburgh right now. No, me and Three River, I'm not into all them rivers. I'm just kidding. I like oceans. But that's a whole nother story. Now, the Steelers literally called out 4 backup quarterbacks last year. Everyone and their dog played quarterback for the Steelers last year. And now, Ben Roethlisberger, as much as I don't approve of the man, the quarterback is still pretty good. That guy wakes up and throws 4,000 yards. Boom. Yeah. So, with that being said, Juju Smith-Schuster being the number one wide receiver in Pittsburgh is going to have a good year. He's going to have 1,300 yards and probably about 7 touchdowns. If you can get that on your fantasy squad, you're doing it right. You know, I'm not making this up. This is stuff these are the things that have helped me win fantasy football leagues, multiple championships. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Hardcore Challenge, but that division that I'm in has been mine for years, and it's gonna be. No one is coming close. I'll see whoever. I lost in the Super Bowl last year because my team didn't show up. It was a sad, sad day, and I'm still heartbroken over it because I want the trophy. We got a new trophy in our league, and I want that trophy. I do. So, now I know a lot of you guys are Raider fans, and you're tuning in to the Prime Cut here at Prime Raider Reaction Sports Studios. And I'm not talking about just the Raiders. Well, the Raiders wouldn't even be the Raiders without the rest of the league. They'd just be like a team in Vegas wandering around in the desert. Like, oh. So that's why I'm here. I tell you what. And don't forget. Come on, Jake. What, you got a problem with this? Is this not the truth? The Raiders wouldn't be the... you can't win a Super Bowl if there's not another team on the other side. Come on, man. We got to pay attention to the 31 enemies of the Raiders. And that's why Prime is here. That's right. That's why I bring to you the NFL news, the rest of the league. That's why I talk about fantasy football. Hey, I tell you what, I don't even stop at fantasy football. I'll do mixed martial arts. I'm talking UFC. Did you see the past weekend with Cormier losing once again to Stipe Miocic? I can say Miocic better than some of the people even at ESPN. That's right. It's the truth. I don't make this up. It just happens. It's reality, y'all. Anyway, woo! I am fired up tonight. It is good to see you guys. It's been too long. We have gone through. Yeah. Well, that's right. I have ran that division. The Dirty South is mine. And if anybody wants to say anything about it, come at me. That's right. You feeling froggy? Jump. Do it. Come on. That's how I feel. I just set my keepers earlier tonight. You know who I set as my keepers? I'll tell you now. Right here, live on Facebook, as well as Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I have kept Christian McCaffrey. Yep. I got him. I drafted him as a rookie, and I was right about that. I drafted Michael Thomas as a rookie, and I was right about that. I also drafted Deshaun Watson, and I do have Austin Eckler. I'm keeping him. And because we are in a legacy league, the defense I'm keeping, I have to keep a defensive player or a defensive team, and that is the New England Patriots. Now, the reason I'm keeping the New England Patriots is because they play in a division that is pretty offensively weak. The Jets suck. The Miami Dolphins suck. I mean, they're getting better, but they suck still. Like, the Patriots started the first 8 games last year without allowing a touchdown. That was because of their defense. I think they can do it again because their division sucks. I don't care what Buffalo's doing. Fucking Buffalo Bill Mafia. Like, they're slamming girls through tables. I don't understand all that there in Buffalo. I don't know what the Bills are doing. Like, what is a Buffalo, the Bill Mafia? Like, get that out of here. Get that out of here. I've been running that division for years. Yeah, that's right. That conference is mine again, too. Yeah. Why? Because I've had success and I know what I'm talking about when it comes to fantasy football and when it comes to football. I just know that stuff. I don't know why. I pay attention. I keep, my eye on the details, the little things. It's the little things that sometimes take you to the championship. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know. So if you want to win your league, you follow Raider Reaction as well as Reaction Sports and Prime all year long. Hey, now, we'll see. Come on. Who's your team, Jake? Who's your team? All right, I'll wait for Jake to answer. Who is your team, Jake? And then I'll know. Are you in the Hardcore Challenge? It is the pinnacle of fantasy football. If you don't know, now you do. Anyway. Oh, Bad Company. Wait a minute. I'd have to go back and look at last year's records, the results of last year. But I think you did pretty good, Bad Company. I think you did pretty good. So, hey, I'll see you this season. Our draft is in like 11 days or something like that. So, yeah. I've talked about wide receivers. Now, I do want to say Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Okay, those guys are pretty good. They've been pretty good even with Jameis Winston. That guy threw for 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. It does not make sense. Right on. Right on. I know you handed a couple of people, Jake. I know you handed a couple of people some serious losses, so I appreciate you. But, So, once again, I'm talking about Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, all right? They're wide receivers, one of the best two wide receiver tandems in the NFL, residing now in Tampa Bay, all right? The Bucks. They just got Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady is 100 years old, and he's used to a very cheaty team. The dude cheats. Tom Brady, he cheated. Deflategate, remember that? Remember Deflategate? Well, that happened, all right? And so now he's in Tampa Bay, and now they're saying, oh, Tampa Bay is such a great, they're going to be great. Like, Tom Brady's making the difference. He's a change in the culture in Tampa Bay. And now they're going to be a Super Bowl team? Well, in the NFC, it's quite possible they could make it there. I mean, the NFC, the Green Bay Packers, well, the Green Bay Packers, no, I know they've got Aaron Jones, the running back, as well as Devontae Adams. They got ballers in Green Bay. But at the same time, I don't know what's going on because they had a fraudulent 13-3 record last year. Did the Green Bay Packers? But I still insist that the Green Bay Packers are a one-man band, and that one man is Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is getting old. And you know what? He's only made one Super Bowl. People are talking about the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. People call him like one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And I'm like, one Super Bowl makes you one of the best quarterbacks of all time? I have to disagree. Yeah. Now, I admit, you got some athletic prowess. You're pretty good athletically. Sure. But game management, like manipulating the pocket, winning. Do that, Aaron Rodgers. Win a Super Bowl, and then I'll give two about you. Win a Super Bowl. Win another one. Because you won one. So did Brett Favre. Green Bay, I don't like Green Bay either. Green Bay is also on that short list of teams. I'll go over them once again. The short list of teams that Prime does not like. Green Bay Packers, don't like them. New England Patriots, don't like them. Denver Broncos, don't like them. Dallas Cowboys, don't like them. That's how that works. I'm sorry. So, I've talked about quarterbacks. I've talked about running backs. I've talked about wide receivers. I guess those are pretty much the most important positions on your fantasy football team, but it doesn't end there. Oh no, we have to talk about tight ends. And tight ends, man, all right. It's a real short list because how many tight ends really produce? Travis Kelce, a given. George Kittle, man, he had a pretty good year last year. He's going to have a good year this year. He's got that like WWE strength or stupidity about him. I'm not sure. Pick one. Strength or stupidity. Anyway, but Darren Waller, is he the tight end that cracks the top five of tight ends this year? I think so. You know why? Because some of the positions around that man are very, very good, which basically equal more open space for Waller. Waller's going to have a great year. Because Jacobs is going to be a stud. I think Henry Ruggs is going to stretch the field like Tariq Hill or Evans, does. Anyway. So, yeah. I think Waller's going to be great. Evan Ingram in New York, man. If all of the pieces in New York can actually come together and play together as a team, then, man, their offense is going to be sweet. Defensively, the Giants are going to suck. But other than that, their offense should be pretty good. Yeah. By the way, if you are just joining us, thank you for coming to the Prime Cut featuring Prime here at Prime Reaction Sports Radio Reaction Studios. And it's good to be back. I've been gone for quite a while. I do apologize. I know. I just had some other fish to fry. if you will. But what other tight ends are going to make any kind of splash? Well, did you hear? The league is going to be a little more dumb now because Rob Gronkowski's coming back. Rob Gronkowski's coming back to play tight end, and man, that guy was so injured. I mean, you might as well call Rob Gronkowski Ace for Ace Bandage. All right? That guy was so hurt. I mean, his elbow, his back. I mean, debilitating injuries for Rob Gronkowski. He retired from football and made a couple of appearances on your Sunday morning pre-football shows terribly. Well, I don't know. I hear he has a booze cruise. I like booze and I like cruises. So I would go on the Rob Gronkowski booze cruise, but that's a whole other story. All right. But Hunter Henry, remember that guy? He took he's now the number one tight end for the Chargers, And let's see, Jared Cook in New Orleans. I think he could have a good year. Now, they are suddenly calling the University of Iowa tight end university because they also have Noah Fant, and Noah Fant is in Denver. If Denver, I don't trust Denver. People are picking them to be like their new NFL darlings, and I can't do it, man. Denver's still going to suck. Their quarterback still sucks. They got a decent running back. Man, do they still have, Demaryius Thomas, I think his name is, the old wide receiver. He's an old wide receiver, man. I'm surprised he's not out there with a walker and a cane. He's like, I'm old and I'm catching balls. All right. But that's all they got there in Denver. I don't know what's going to make them good suddenly. They got rid of Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian's not in Denver anymore. Anyway. But you can't forget about the players like Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle, he's over there in Indianapolis. Oh, man. He used to have a counterpart, but here is the one tight end I'm going to tell you to keep an eye out for. If you can pick him up in your draft, it will pay off. And that tight end is Eric Ebron. He's now in Pittsburgh. That was so quiet, I didn't even know about it. Eric Ebron is in Pittsburgh. Now, that guy is one heck of a tight end. He really made a name for himself in Indianapolis. Like, he'd been around. He was a Lion. That's right. He was a Detroit Lion way back when. And I don't know why they got rid of him. The Lions should have kept him. He's pretty good, Anyway, but Eric Ebron is now on his third team with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that's going to pay off because with the return of Ben Roethlisberger, who is not a good man, he should have a lot of success. And I saw that he had a lot of success last year and the year before in Indianapolis when it came to red zone possessions. All right, Eric Ebron did a lot of good work in the red zone. The guy's a big body. He can post up and make that catch. For the what? Touchdown. All right. But tight ends are tight ends. They're only so exciting, of course you got Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Zach Ertz, But is Mark Andrews going to have the success he had, in Baltimore last year? I don't know, man. The guy got injured last year. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I think they've got, the Baltimore Ravens just brought in Dez Bryant. I don't know what the hell Dez Bryant's been doing, but he's now looking at being a Baltimore Raven. So kudos to that guy. Anyway, thank you. So, when it comes to the tight ends, really, Jared Cook, he's still pretty good. TJ Hawkinson, speaking of Detroit, out of Detroit, Stafford's going to be healthy and going this year despite any false COVID-19 allegations or something like that, But, gosh. After tight ends, I got to look at defenses. We are winding it down. And when it comes to defenses, think about it. It's really sort of, I don't know, what is, the defense is almost like the kicker. The defenses are a little bit better than the kicker, you know. And other than that, I mean, who really cares? Just get one. Just get one. You know, you just don't want to get a defense that gives up negative points. That's the thing, you know. So, yeah, the Steelers, apparently, they're supposed to be good. But the Bills, they have a good defense. The 49ers, they have a good defense. The Ravens and the Patriots and Bears all have good defenses. But what defense is really going to take, you know, a big leap this year? What defense is going to take a big leap? Well, I tell you, it won't be the Cowboys. They just had a defensive tackle get hurt. So, yeah, they're hurt. They just brought him over from Buffalo. But how about the Seahawks? I mean, the Seahawks still have Bobby Wagner. They're no longer the Legion of Boom. You know, they've got a different backfield there. Or, what about the Raiders? What about the Raiders? The Raiders have made moves on the defense. They picked up linebackers and Corey Littleton. Okay, Corey Littleton is a stud. He's a tackle machine. Can the Raiders defense be fantasy significant this year? I think it possible. Despite, you know, Khalil Mack being a Chicago Bear. I don't know why y'all ever got rid of Khalil Mack. I don't care about his attitude or anything he said. That dude can ball out. He can change the game by himself. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about kickers. I can't talk more about defense. I do want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight for the return of the Prime. Hi, that's me. I'm Prime. You know, kind of like Prime Time, but it's totally different because I didn't play, you know, football and baseball. I'm not Deion Sanders, but, you know, but still I believe in prime cuts. You know, like a good prime steak. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I want to thank everyone. He was a bitch, says a Raider Reaction. Who was a bitch? Oh, Khalil Mack. Oh, damn, it's coming hard all of a sudden. He was a man, I greedy fucker. He deserved to be the top paid defensive player in the league, and he's earned it. That dude can change the game by himself. I dare anybody, Raider Reaction or otherwise, to go up to Khalil Mack and be like, Khalil Mack, you're a bitch. I dare you, and I want to be there to see it. Man, make it known. We'll make that happen because that dude, I'm sorry, he's a manimal. He's a man amongst boys. Khalil Mack was a stud, dude, and he should still be wearing that black and silver. On that note, I will say, good night, y'all. And thank you for tuning in to the Prime Cut. Don't forget to follow Raider Reaction on all of our social media platforms, including YouTube. Oh, what has he done in Chicago? He's won games by himself in Chicago. Now, Chicago's a crappy team. They're not good. Chicago, the Bears are terrible. But not because of Khalil Mack, because of Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky is a bitch. And I'll call Mitch Trubisky a bitch to his face. Like, I don't even care. I don't even think he's going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Nick Foles is going to take over that motherfucker. Yeah, you heard it here. Anyway, this is the Prime Cut. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and RaiderReaction.com, Twitter, and everything else, man. I'm out. Thank you. Deuces.